Breaking news in the crypto space. The Bitwise CEO Matt Hougan says crypto sentiment is near bottom range. It's called the retail flushout, and what's happening is the crypto market may be approaching the final stage of retail flushout, quote unquote. Now again, this is according to Bitwise's chief investment officer. He goes on to say that on one hand, retail investors are showing max depression after a year of liquidations, leverage blowouts, and failures in yield platforms. It's almost like we went through a crypto bear market for almost the entire year. And now everybody's saying we're going into the bear market, where it's like, well, have you really been making money the last 9 months, 10 months? Now, obviously, we've done well with short-term low caps and taking profits there, and a couple of ups and downs, and we've bought and sold, but generally speaking, outside of Bitcoin, that's up about 20-25% on the year, and a handful of other cryptos that are doing okay, nothing has really made us go, wow, this has been an incredible bull run. Now, he goes on to say the market for crypto native retail is just more depressed than I've ever seen it. And you've heard me say that too. I think it's amazing how many people have left the space, even though the big money, the infrastructure is being built behind the scenes, decentralized finance is being built behind the scenes, the banking system and the hedge funds are all talking about tokenization and how crypto is the future and blockchain is the future. And again, to my point, he goes on to say after this, when I go out and speak to institutions, they're still excited to allocate, and they have been allocating, highlighting that many are drawn to the asset's strong one-year performance despite recent short-term volatility. Now, they're talking about specifically Bitcoin. Now, Hougan goes on to say, and this is what I've kind of been telling you guys, it's amazing that so many people are missing this, but Hougan says there's a steady inflow from professional investors suggesting that the current sell-off may not signal the start of a prolonged bear market like people are saying, and you're going to see it in my comments and you see it everywhere, but rather a temporary correction before institutional demand drives the next leg higher. He also goes on to say, like I've been saying forever, the end of the year, and it can happen very fast. Out of nowhere, the market could completely switch, and each one of your projects that are down 50, 60, and 70% could be up 50, 60, 70% within days. In some cases, it could happen within hours. Don't believe me? Bookmark this video. But he's increasingly bullish and optimistic that the end of the year is going to be good and then into 2026. And put a 1 in the comments if you heard me say this a million times, but I think the end of the year and then into early 2026 could be really good for crypto. The only thing that I'm going to be changing moving forward is that we clearly don't have a 4-year cycle, we have a liquidity cycle. Now that the asset class is not just retail investors and maybe some billionaires and millionaires, it's the entire financial system, it's governments, it's the banking system, that 4-year cycle may go out the window. Crypto has finally been legitimized as a legitimate asset by some of the most powerful people in the monetary system today. Now, he closes his remarks with, Hougan believes the downturn is part of a broader sentiment cycle. I quote, "We have to get through the retail flushout," he said. "We have to hit bottom from a sentiment perspective. I think we're very close to that." And the reason why I agree with him, and I've been saying that, and I've been yelling it from the rooftops, that this seems like we're very close to the bottom. Could we go to the CME gap of 92 or $93,000 on Bitcoin as a flash crash wick one more time? Well, absolutely we could. But just like every time we see a crash like that, it will pop back up. And like I said, are you selling? In the comments, let me know. Yes or no. Have you been selling, or have you been sitting there, hanging out, chilling, or have you been buying? Because I can tell you right now, I don't know many people that are selling at this point. You may be selling because you need the money. That's a different story. You're not selling because you're like, oh, it's over. And that sentiment's kind of, I think we're flatlining there, where I think more people are thinking, I'd rather be buying. I'm a buyer at these numbers when I have more money, which is the biggest problem for people right now. Liquidity's not here, but that's coming. We've talked about that a million times. We've talked about rates coming down. We've talked about trade wars finally coming to an end or a stalemate. of China in the US coming to an end. That's the biggest one. We have a pause for at least a year. We know that the Fed is more dovish now. They're way less hawkish. And what do I mean by dovish is, right, they're ready to start lowering rates more, even though Powell said, we don't know about December because of the data and the shutdown, and he's just saving his ass. They're going to lower rates. They're going to have to. And they're going to continue to do this well into 2026. And maybe history repeats itself, and that's not good for the markets for a short period. As rates start to come down more, markets start to come down more. This is a historical thing that we've seen. But that could break as well. That doesn't need to exist. It may only be very, very short. And then the money printers turn on, the liquidity comes back into the market, and everything starts to go back up. Now, also, you can tell that these sells that we're seeing now, yes, you have your flush outs from market makers and liquidating longs and shorts, but most of the big money, the smart money, has already taken their profits. They don't have much money left in their token, if any at all. So now when you see your low cap or mid cap or large cap and you see the market cap, you know that majority of that money is you and I. So again, once we collectively say, I'm going to be a buyer, not a seller, well, that's when the market turns around. And I think we're really, really close to that. Tell me if you're a buyer in the comments. I'm curious what you guys are doing right now. Make sure you guys like the video, share the video. Like I said, comment, help the algorithm out. I really appreciate that. Repost the video, send it to a friend that needs to understand what's going on in crypto. I appreciate all of you. And don't forget, dollar cost average. And when you're up on your altcoins, don't forget to take profits into Bitcoin.